Chaos has claimed the souls of 4 more playoff hopefuls. The round of 12 is known for its chaos, but only the weak bite the dust. Those who moved on earned it, and those who didn't, well, let's just say they're where they belong now, in the gulag fighting for 5th place. Let's see how they got here. Cindric started off the playoffs with unprecedented speed, being the only driver to score top 10s in both the opening playoff races. This set him up nicely for a chance at a deep run, as he drove through Bristol without much concern. After the points reset, things looked optimistic, until Kansas bit him like a snake. We've seen the lack of speed from Penske on 1.5 this year, so this was on par with expectations. You never want to go into Talladega thinking it's your best chance to advance though. One cannot fight the chaos, but only embrace it. Luckily, Cindric was well equipped, having earned the most points of all drivers at plate tracks all season. He even found himself leading with 5 laps to go.
Oh no, bro!
Until he lost it off the nose of Keselowski, who is indeed the king of bad pushes. Cindric entered the Roval well below the cut line, and even with a good initial showing and a top 5 finish, he never really stood a chance of making up enough ground. I'll say he's impressed by being more contentious this year, but he'll have to repeat this effort to prove he's worthy of his ride. Who am I kidding? He's guaranteed that ride so long as he has a pulse. Enjoy another year of mediocrity.
Everyone abandon ship!
The last embers of Stewart Haas's fiery collapse have finally been extinguished. For a while in the first round, Briscoe seemed like he'd go on a Cinderella run to close out the year, and give his dying team one last shot. Then you see how shit Stewart Haas has been since last year, and it makes sense why he didn't go farther. I'll give him props that he had the car to beat late race at Darlington and earned points where needed, but his mid-pack equipment could only take his driving talent so far. Briscoe definitely earned his opportunity with JGR next year. Seeing as he can put an entire rotting corpse on his back and carry it to the postseason, I'm curious to see how well he'll do in the years to come. He's versatile for sure, but is also prone to boneheaded fatal mistakes, like going full ARCA brakes at Atlanta. That kind of shit won't fly once you're with the big dogs. At least we'll finally get a little more personality in the coach's house.
It's Taco Tuesday! Not again!
Mr. Monterey made a stand with his win at Atlanta back in February, and while some doubted his ability come playoff time, Suarez made his case to be a contender by padding points early on. Despite his hardest attempt to fuck it, Suarez limped it home to make it through Bristol and advanced to the second round for the second time in his career. A promising showing for Trackhouse the next week at Kansas gave the 99 camp hope, only to immediately pull a Plaxico Burress with a pass-through penalty on lap 1 at Talladega. His desperation to merge back with the pack only further added insult to injury, as he spent the entire race so far back that not even the biggest wreck in history made a difference in his playoff hopes. Danny Boy came to the Roval in basically a must-win situation, and despite a good showing early, brake failure would ultimately seal his fate. Suarez has the capacity to be successful going forward, but if we learned anything from the Zane Smith SVG dilemma, we know Justin Marks wants to win now, and has little patience for anything else. His return next year could very well be his last with Trackhouse if he doesn't match his teammates' speed. Prove him wrong.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
It is with great pleasure to inform you that Joey Logano's even odd year curse has come to an end. We no longer have to endure his middling performances making a deep run or enjoy the memes that an odd year brings. It's honestly kind of refreshing to...
Oh my god!
Oh dear God, no. Of all the conceivable ways Logano could have made it further in the playoffs, I did not have this on my bingo card.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Scratch that, I guess. Bowman put himself in this position. Normally an appeal would be an interesting situation, but being under minimum weight is a pretty black and white call. People on Twitter saying he lost something when he bunny hopped on the front stretch chicane neglect to acknowledge that a 17-pound piece of debris would absolutely cause a caution. Really sucks too, because Bowman went on an insane playoff run to get to this point, and honestly he deserved to go through. Ran up front, led laps, hell even won a stage. Why anyone with control over the car's weight would either do this or let it go unnoticed at such a crucial point of the season is beyond me. You had a legitimate chance at not only putting all 4 Hendrick cars in the championship 4, but also securing your future for even longer with another deep run. Instead you get to languish with the rest of the playoff eliminees. Enjoy your overshadowed offseason. With these 4 out of sight, we arrive at the round of 8 with the usual suspects. Blaney and Logano find themselves in familiar territory, both hoping to return the Bill France Cup to Team Penske for the 3rd consecutive year. Whether their runs continue through the next round is yet to be seen. With Bowman's DQ at the Roval, only 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars advance to the round of 8, but each has a strong case to make the Champ 4. Larson has been far and away the winningest driver this year, marked by inconsistency that gets nullified by wins in the end. While Byron hasn't won since April, and many thought his campaign would fall off the rails, he's recorded 3 podium finishes in the past 3 races, and advanced on points alone before the Roval race, seemingly hotter than peak Jimmy Johnson right now. This goes without mentioning Chase Elliott, who's only had 1 DNF and 3 finishes outside the top 20 all season, remarkably more consistent than the rest of the field. That being said, his 1 win doesn't shine the brightest, but he very well could be the last driver to advance on points. Speaking of the last driver to advance on points, Reddick's season seemed like it was on life support early in the Roval race. Mired in traffic, he got caught up in an incident that could have very well ended his regular season title defense, had it not been for a late race caution. With this, new tires allowed him to methodically carve through the field to jump Joey Logano in points, and put himself in the next round with the jump man himself watching. A clutch performance like that doesn't go unnoticed, and Reddick is seemingly rejuvenated after a much-needed points reset. His other team owner was somewhat on the rails earlier, but Hamlin would hold on to a spot in the next round with top 10s at Kansas and Talladega and a good enough finish at the Roval, showing us he still has the consistency to advance even with off-track problems lingering. Christopher Bell has been phenomenal, yet silent in these playoffs so far. He's only finished outside the top 7 once through 6 playoff races, and hasn't finished outside the top 15 at all in the same time span. At one point, he looked just about as inconsistent as Larson, but has reined in the chaos to establish himself as a true title contender moving forward. The only question is, can he return to Phoenix and finally shake his demons? Only time will tell. This round, we have a slate of tracks that line up very well for some and leave others pulling at their collars a little bit. You want my honest Champ 4 predictions? Larson, Bell, and Byron have proven themselves to be the class of the field late in this playoff run. And while I'm still somewhat skeptical about Byron, I think he has the momentum to carry him in on points at least. As for my final pick, while I don't think he can quite point his way in, I can see Reddick pulling off a win at Vegas, where he nearly beat Larson in the spring. Now watch Denny or Logano somehow sneak their way into a title. May the racing gods be with you, and remember the mantra. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, leave a like or comment down below. And until next time, pull those belts tight, raise hail, praise Dale, and happy racing.